Welcome to the podcast, where we teach you how to create marketing that pops. Get ready for refreshing conversations with industry experts, trendsetters, and creative minds that'll leave you bubbling with inspiration. Get ready to turn up the volume on your business. Let's get popping. All right. Welcome back to Marketing That Pops. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Michelle.
And we are just getting back from MJBizCon, and oh my gosh, it was crazy this year. As you know, we've been talking about MJBizCon, kind of just our leading up to it. And Michelle got a chance to speak this year, so we'll talk about that a little bit today. But if you don't know what MJBizCon is one of the largest and most influential trade shows in the cannabis industry. It's an annual event that's held in Las Vegas, where cannabis professionals, entrepreneurs, and businesses, they gather to network and learn and showcase their products and services. So today we're going to be talking all about our experience at MJBizCon 2024.
Yes, how tired we are.
Exactly. But before we do that, obviously we got to start with our debunk myth.
Yes.
So, Michelle, cannabis conventions, I think that people always have like a preconceived notions of what that might be. And some people might think that it's just for like potheads or like a place for people to just go and buy weed. What would you say to somebody who would have that type of thinking about a cannabis convention?
Yes, it may like sound that way, or like I know many people that I tell I'm going to it, they're like, oh, okay. But really, it's for business, right? So it's the majority, I would say, are B2B people, but there are retailers there. We're not standing there smoking pot while we're talking to people. We're not doing any of that. It's really about what are the right tools to be using to produce certain product, whether it's the gummies or the flower or whatever that may be, like the different products like lighting or racks or filtration or humidity control, things like that. So it really is and has elevated since we first started going, about 5 years ago. So when we first started going, there really wasn't I guess people were just starting to get into the cannabis industry because it was just starting to be legal and didn't really understand how they could do this business. And I think now it's very much more mature and people are really like, it's much more professional now.
Yeah. It's crazy when you go to a cannabis convention like MJBizCon. And speaking specifically about MJBizCon, it's huge. I mean, it's when you see it, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that there was like this many, different sectors or things that kind of go into or even touch cannabis. Like you said, like lighting or like, I don't know, like racking systems. There's so many different things. Like there was even some banking institutions that were there that, it's hard for bank or cannabis businesses to get certain kind of funding. So there's lots of different ways and businesses that are touching this industry. So
I think too, there's like businesses that are taking their traditional business and spinning things into that. So I know, like, for example, and she wasn't at this event, but I have a client that has a hair salon and she is now offering like infused cannabis in her massage and in her hair products and services. And so it's just an additional revenue source for for people.
Right.
And so it's, people are being like really creative on how, now that there's this opportunity that things are legal, how could, I, take advantage of that?
Yes, exactly. So speaking of creative, Michele, how do you feel like ThrivePOP did this year? Like in terms of like past years, what do you feel? Just tell us a little bit about our booth.
Okay. All right. So tell y'all a little story about our booth. So every year, like, we try to kind of elevate our booth, and last year we spent a lot of money on, I wanted it to seem simple and just pull it out of the box, boom, 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 it's up and we're ready to go. But then everybody else does that, right? And so then we don't really stand out. And so Olivia had this really great idea, and like, her and some of the girls in the office were trying to like explain it to me, and I'm like, I'm just not seeing it, you guys. Like, what do you mean we're not going to use our trade show booth? And I'm like how, what, and I just like couldn't say. I'm like, whatever, you guys are in charge this year, you just like, I'm just going to show up, you just handle it. And it was like really cool. And basically we did these stands, and then there were these plastic shimmery things that as the light hit it, it flickered. And we got a 10 by 20 booth, which was an island booth this year. So we were able to have the hanging sign above, which was a big deal.
Yes.
Because we had a pink booth in a very male dominated trade show. And so it was like very easy to find us. And what was surprising to me is that everybody wanted to use our booth as selfie, wall area. And we had this whole theme of, pink pony club type of thing. And we had the music going, we were wearing cowboy hats and the glitz and glam. And so people would come by and, take their picture. We had a lot of influencers coming by and like, oh my God, this is a great photo op, and they tag us and all of this. So it really was exciting to see that, because it really, when you have something like that, it like starts that conversation very friendly. It's not like, so tell me what you do, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh my God, can I get a picture? Ah! And then, here we're all, taking pictures for them. And then, we're talking about, what do you guys do? Da, 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 da. And so it goes from there. But that's kind of like the story of our booth. Now, we also, this one was my brainchild, which was, so we always have to rent like flooring and all of this type of thing. And so I'm like, how can we do this in a cheaper way? Like, I hate like spending all that money on the carpet or the tile or whatever, but we wanted something really cool. And so we found over on Temu, if anybody ever shops on Temu, they have the different squares that
they're like puzzle pieces.
Yeah, they plug in like a puzzle piece, kind of like the workout pieces. And so we did a light pink and a, kind of a hot pink. And so we ordered enough to like fill our 10 by 20 booth, which looked so cool.
It did.
So between the wall and the flooring, now here's the problem with the floor, is that there was already a base carpet laid down, and then which at first we were thinking, oh, awesome, because now it will be extra cushiony. And so we spent all that time like putting all these pieces together, and then as people would walk on it, they would pop up, and so here I am constantly walking around, plugging back the puzzles back together. It's like so annoying, but it looked really cool.
Yes. And that's the thing about trade show booths and events in general. It's like, people don't understand like the setup that goes into it. I mean, the trade show itself, it started on Wednesday, but we got there on Monday, and thank God we did, because we had enough time to, like Michelle said, put all of those puzzle pieces of the flooring together and then really figure out how all of this stuff was going to come together. But oh my gosh, those floor pieces. I mean, I'm so glad that everybody loved how it looked, but internally, on the internal team, we were like,
I hate this floor. Yeah. And now it's like next year, I'm like, yeah, we're not doing that again.
Yes.
We're going to buy a 10 by 20 floor piece or something. I don't, something, but we're not doing that again because it drove me nuts. So,
yes.
And, like putting those walls together was that was very time consuming. So we did not take those apart. Hopefully they arrive in one piece when we get them, but I think they will, because we, put a lot of cushion in things. But like when you were talking about trade shows, it is a lot of work. Like Olivia was saying, like not only did we go set up, build the booth, then we're marketing people. We're sitting on our butts, right? Like we're not like manual labor, and we're not used to that. And so, oh my gosh, by the time that the trade show started, we were already whipped. And then, you're just standing, talking to people, and this place is huge. And I think I got about 16,000 steps in every day that we were there. So it's crazy. But yeah, and then at the end you have to break it down and you got to pack it up so that you can ship it back to yourself. And so it's really like a lot of work, and thank goodness we don't do a lot of these because it's a lot of work. However, like if we were to do a lot, we'd be paying people to like, put these together. So show up, because I'm getting too old for this stuff.
Me too. I think my favorite thing though about our booth, and especially this year, but and maybe years before too, is that when you have other marketing managers or CMOs, when they come over and they're like, oh my gosh, you guys, your marketing, it pulled me in. And when you get to talk to those like-minded individuals about what you love, and you get to like kind of geek out about it, that's like my favorite thing at MJBizCon. And just talking about other people's setup and just kind of giving everybody their props and their flowers at that time is so fun. Michelle got the chance to talk to Love Buds, if you want to talk about that.
Oh, well, yeah, a couple of things. I was going to say, we were nominated for one of the most intriguing booths or whatever, and which was very cool because there's some major booths there. We're like a little 10 by 20. And also, like Olivia was saying, like people would come up to us and be like, you must be marketing, and then we're like, yeah, that's what we do. They're like, well, you got our attention, so and I guess when you're thinking about if you're gonna do a trade show, that's the key. You gotta get the attention. You can't be like everybody else. Don't be like just having a table and standing behind it and being all boring. You gotta be super creative, and you gotta have a theme, and so
even if your product, especially if your product is on the boring end, or like, you gotta have something that's gonna bring people in, whether it's like maybe you're doing popcorn at your booth, or maybe you're like one of the booths, it was like a smaller booth, maybe it was only a 10 by 10, but they had on their backdrop, they're like, oh, find Waldo in our backdrop, like, where's Waldo? And that was just like a super simple, thing, but it drew us in, and we came into their booth and we talked to them. So it's really about trying to figure out different and creative ways to, engage with your audience. A lot of people have fun bags, and we're like, oh, where'd you get that bag? And like as girls, we're like, oh, we gotta have that. And so we're trying to hunt down who has the cutest bag or the cutest swag. You got to find your hook to bring people in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I know Olivia was talking about Love Buds, and so this is a company, they were right next to us, and they ended up winning for the best booth, which they did deserve it. Like they did such a good job. And it was like university themed, and it was a full-blown campaign, like every piece of it. They had the Letterman jackets that the team was wearing, and was it like every corner was a different, I guess you explain it a little bit more.
So Love Buds is kind of like, I'd say like their parent company. And so on each different corner of their booth, when they did have a large space, they had different stations for different brands. And so the people at those different corners were able to like really talk about their products and different things, but they really went all the way in on the overall design, like Michelle said. So it basically looked like a big university building, and they had the Letterman jackets, and they had cool bags that kind of went with it. They had books on shelves, like, and not fake books, they were actual books.
Real books, because when we were all tearing down, I'm watching these guys, I'm like, wow, that really sucks. Because they're like to cart in like all these books and then like place them on the bookshelves. And I mean, just the detail that went into their booth. And maybe some people don't notice those things. I do, but yeah, I mean, like really, really cool. And then they had t-shirts that said "Love You," like with a heart. It was really cute, red one. I didn't get one, but they're gonna send me one. So I was jealous about that, but yeah. And then ended up the vice president came over to me. He's like, "Oh my God, you're ThrivePOP." I'm like, "Yeah, we're ThrivePOP." So it was kind of cool to like connect with them and so forth. But yeah. And I was talking to him, and he was saying that every year they do a different theme. So like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, props to them, because that's time consuming, but it paid off. And one thing, like Michelle was talking about, is the small details, and it's just like people, I think they do pay attention to the details, and even if they don't, it's the small details that make the overall thing that much better. So pay attention to those things when you're thinking about your trade show booth, or thinking about a campaign, or like, how can all of this come together. And one thing that he did mention as I was kind of eavesdropping on the conversation, he was talking to Michelle about how a lot of people don't want to walk around with like a big cannabis leaf or like a big nug on their shirt. And so I appreciated the fact that he was talking about that. And with his merch, like Michelle was saying, they had the "I love you," and then on small text on the back, they had like lovebuds.com. And to get people to wear your swag, sometimes you have to think about that, and from a user's perspective, like, are they going to wear this? Like, what makes it wearable? Another company that was pretty close to us, I can't remember the name of it right now, but they were giving away like t-shirt still, but it was like Las Vegas themed, and MJBizCon, like MJBizCon 2024, which, you know, yeah, people are paying for these types of shirts from MJBizCon, but it's nice that they're giving those away, because it's like, of course I want to wear that. I was at
Mm-hmm.
MJBizCon, and it has like Las Vegas things and cards all over it. It was just really cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
that is something to think about when you're thinking about swag and selecting that type of stuff.
Yeah. And really like having it tie with whatever the theme of your booth is too,
Mm-hmm.
so that everything is connected.
Yep, every piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
So Michelle, we talked about how this was our, basically, I think this was our 4th year at MJBizCon. So how do you feel like MJBizCon has evolved over the years, and like what are the biggest takeaways that you've seen?
You know, I think, like I was saying, it has, the professionalism has elevated itself. I think the it just keeps getting bigger, which is crazy. I think that they keep trying to like move certain like categories around to like get the flow right, which is kind of interesting. Like I didn't like last year's flow, but I did like this year's flow.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. We got to see Mike Tyson. He walked right in front of our booth, so that was cool. I got to see him. But yeah, I mean, I think I felt like the traffic was like real steady.
Mm-hmm.
I think Friday was dead.
Yeah.
We should probably just have 2 days there and then be done. Yeah, because that third day is just other exhibitors come around getting free swag, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. But, I think they have an app, and they're kind of enhancing that each year, which is good, so that you can connect with people on the app, or like, instead of downloading this other app to like scan the badges, it's all
Yeah.
into one badge, which that was really nice this time.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of like different cool things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One thing that I wish they could have communicated better is about the food trucks. I mean, okay, we're dying. We're like, oh, we don't want to eat, like the
Yeah.
cafeteria type food. So when we were coming in, we saw these food trucks, and we're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
let's go to the food truck. We're dying. Our feet are killing. This is the day we wore cowboy boots, and my feet were just screaming at me. But the food trucks were way down at the other end. I swear it was like a mile down there. And so, but we were determined to go to that food truck. So we go walk all the way down there, and it was the best food ever. But then the next day, we go to this other event, this women's event, and what the heck? There's food trucks like right by our booth.
Right outside the door.
So communication on these different vendors
Yes,
would have been
please.
helpful. Or, the placement of like where those things are at, because that was a little confusing. So,
Yeah.
but we did give our feedback to MJ so that they know.
Yeah.
'Cause they came around and were asking feedback, and that's something that's never been done before either. Like nobody's ever really come over to us and asked us.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really nice that it made us feel important.
Yeah. I would say for me, it's just like it just changes year over year. And I think that when we were talking to one of the MJ BizCon employees, like I feel like they are starting to cater towards like more businesses and more like-minded individuals. And I say that because our first year there, it just seemed like we had an influx of people that came to our booth, which was great. And we thought we had all these great leads, but, they were kind of like not really not qualified leads. They were kind of like seemed like they were just there to get the swag or to just see what they could get from a cannabis convention. And I think year over year, the leads have been a little bit more qualified, a little bit more qualified. And then this year, I feel like pretty much 90% of the conversations that we had with people, they either had already looked us up, and I don't know if that's just because we are becoming vets in this and people are starting to know who ThrivePOP is. But I also think it is to their credit of, just trying to have more qualified individuals at the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think last year a lot of the leads that we received were a lot of people wanting to partner with us.
Yeah.
And which I don't have anything against that, but I want the people that are actually, that we're going to help support,
Right.
So and I didn't notice a lot of that this year.
Yeah. So what do you think about the way that, because our first year everything was completely connected, like all of the retail and pretty much everybody was all in the same space. Do you feel like that has been beneficial to have that separated, or do you?
I really can't speak to that because I didn't get to walk around. I went from the booth to the bathroom. That was the extent of it. So I went upstairs only to meet with MJ about picking out our booth, and then I went right back. So I didn't even get to go in those rooms. So I don't know. I don't even know what was in there. I think you and Brittany did though.
I actually didn't, but
oh, you didn't? Okay.
But I know that it was similar to that last year, and I do think that when I talked to some of our clients, they felt that maybe the traffic was a little bit slower, but they did have better conversations with the people that did come. So similar to what we've been saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know a lot of our clients were in a different area this year.
Yeah.
Last year, we were right by them. So that was a little more difficult because we want to go like get social, for them, take videos and pictures and stuff like that so that we can post while we're there in the moment. So, and that made it a little tough because they were so far away from us, but that's not MJ's fault, but yeah.
So I have a final two questions for you, Michelle. What would you like to see in the future for ThrivePOP at MJBizCon?
Well, I would like to see us being more involved, maybe like even getting a bigger booth, being able to afford that and advertise, because these are very expensive events. Yeah. So just being able to go, sometimes is really expensive. So, also like being able to attend the conference to get educated. This year I was able to have because I spoke, so I was able to get a pass to go to the conference. So I'd like to be able to make sure that my team is able to go to, the different classes and, learn more about like the trends and what's happening, what are the problems and things like that.
Awesome. And then What do you hope that MJBizCon adds or changes in the future?
It would be nice if the after parties were not so late at night because
Yes.
tired. It'd be nice if they were at like 8 o'clock or something and went till 11. But it's Vegas, and so I think, and I'm old, so and it'd be nice if all the after parties, a lot of them, they charge like so much money to go to.
Yeah.
You can't go to them unless you know somebody or you get a special invite. And so I noticed this year they put like some of the after parties on their website, but which if they did it previous years, I never noticed that. So I did notice that this year. But I would like to be able to attend more of those so that we can like do more networking after the fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like it if they were like more communicative about those after party events, and just in general. I mean, the food trucks would have been nice to know about. But there was other things that I think were happening within the event. There was like more speaking engagements that I kind of wish, even if they had like done some more like over the speaker announcements, anything like that, just to alert people like, hey, this is about to get started, or whatever have you. Maybe more push notifications from the app. So basically what we're saying is MJBizCon, if you need a marketing agency, ThrivePOP is here to help you.
Yeah. I agree though, like the over the loudspeaker announcements would have been like really helpful, especially for the major things. Like, say the, women empowerment is starting in 5 minutes, or, things like that. I think that would have like put people into gear to get over there and, just, hey, reminder, this is happening over here. So that would be helpful. What was cool is I was able to get interviewed by Cultivated too, which is another podcast. So I look forward to seeing that, and we'll share that with you all so that everybody can see that. And it was cool that people came up to us and said, hey, we listen to your podcast. That was really cool.
Very cool. We made a lot of good connections with other people who have podcasts that hopefully will be featured on our show soon. Yeah, it was very exciting. And I was like, you guys listening to us? That's awesome.
Yes. Yes. We need reviews though, guys. Like,
yes, give us some reviews.
So yeah.
So if you guys if you didn't attend MJBizCon, and you're thinking about going next year, we still have our guide available that you can get, because we're vets at this point. We know a thing or two about MJBizCon, so if you're planning on going, it'll tell you like things that you should avoid or things that you should pack or all those types of things. So we'll have that available to you. And then if you missed Michelle's presentation about AI, we're going to have that up on our YouTube channel. So we'll be linking that below as well as the presentation. And we also have a couple of free goodies for you guys. So definitely check out the show notes, and we'll have those things listed down there for you. But as always, thank you for listening. We survived MJBizCon 2024.
We survived. Yay. Yes. And, I didn't freak out too much speaking in front of all those hundreds of people.
Did great. All right. Well, we're going to check you guys on our next episode. Bye.
All right. See ya.
Thanks for listening with us today. Stay tuned for the latest in web marketing and design from ThrivePOP. Want to be a pop star? Head over to thrivepop.com/podcast to join our mailing list for episode notifications, sneak peeks, listener feedback, and more.